Hello everyone, I'm Hugo.
I'm Jake. That was you've backed off. You've backed off since the last episode.
Oh,
none of them are gonna know what to think.
And whatever. It starts with an H.
I'm Jake.
This is the show we do. Welcome. We're back to do another Ben Shapiro or Ben Sharipo if you would prefer.
Sharpeo.
Ben
Sharpeo. When it's in video form, it's Sharpeo. Did you know his wife's a doctor?
I've heard that.
Yeah. I wonder. I don't know of what. Maybe next time we'll find out what her focus is, medically speaking.
So today we're looking at another PragerU video.
Is this another PragerU video?
It is.
Oh.
We should probably do one from his actual channel that he owns, that air quote news organization or whatever.
Daily Wire?
Yeah.
Well, we did put clips in there. Last time he said he wanted to shoot people because his kid was going to learn about the gays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's go ahead and get ahead with.
That sounds fine. That's fine. Just lean into it. Let's go ahead and get ahead.
Let's go ahead.
It's like a yeehaw, y'all.
Get ahead with PragerU's What is Intersectionality?
Round them up. Yeehaw.
Whoosh.
You probably think your opinions matter. You probably think you're an individual with unique experiences, thoughts, and ambitions. Well, I hate to break it to you, but according to current leftist orthodoxy, you're wrong.
Yeah, what he's going to do here, he's going to say, the left, and when they talk about intersectionality, and we'll get into kind of what intersectionality actually is, as opposed to what PragerU was framing it as here in a minute, but he's going to say, and I haven't even watched this video, we're cold watching this, but I'm going to tell you what he's going to say because he's predictable. He's going to say, the left says that you are not an individual person with individual ideas. The left is saying that you are a gay trans woman, therefore that is the only thing that matters to you.
For those of you who don't know, because you're not going to get nowhere in Ben's video are we going to get the actual definition. Intersectionality is basically like, for instance, introduce yourself. I'm a cisgendered white straight guy.
Yeah. I'm a bisexual trans lady who's in mid-transition. Now, these things all may inform my political beliefs specifically because certain policies will affect me either positively or negatively.
Right, like when the Democrats get in, white genocide occurs, so I'm very worried about that.
So the entire point of intersectionality is saying, as an individual, how can you pick politicians who best serve the interests of you and those in your groups?
And how can people from marginalized communities help one another? I'm not a member of any regular marginalized group except maybe atheists, and that's changing. And that's not even, and that's like an opinion, right? That's not a, it's not a demographic info thing. Usually you're talking about someone whose demographic info, they're a minority, they're gay, they're whatever. You get it. You have some systemic marginalization, and the idea is that I can work with you and we can help together to solve problems together, since we're both marginalized, maybe not in the same way, but there's allyship across the sort of marginalization aisles, so to speak. It's kind of a way, like LGBT, it's broken up, right?
Yeah.
That's intersectionality as it is. Like, it doesn't include black people necessarily, but black people are involved in that. And then so now you learn the black experience from a lesbian person and the white experience from a lesbian person.
And that's where the intersection of intersectionality comes into play. Basically, if it helps to think about it this way, identity politics and intersectional politics are opposed to, let's say, party politics. It's not saying, I'm a Republican because I'm a Republican and this is what I believe, or I'm a Democrat and I only vote for Democrats for this reason or another. It's effectively saying, okay, this is my identity, this is who I am. Now, what policies affect people who are me and people who live in similar situations to people like me, and how can we better the experience of not only us, but people who intersect with this particular community who we can learn from and learn the experiences of.
You see, your opinion only matters relative to your identity, and where that identity ranks on the hierarchy of intersectionality.
No, that's not at all what it says.
It's not even like a hierarchy, right? Because he's basically going with the he's going with the oppression Olympics bullshit.
Yeah, is he gonna bring up if you're gay, you're what? That's not a thing. No one CC'd me on the email where we got the chart of oppression. I didn't see that. That's not the point. It's not about a hierarchical system. It's about saying, hey, these specific groups, they're not necessarily in a great place, partially because of their identities. What can we do to help? It's not about, like, let's see, I'm a 6 Sigma 7 oppressed. You are, let's see, you're all the things I am, but you're also Asian. You are more oppressed. That's not the point.
If you're now thinking, what the hell are you talking about? You haven't spent much time on a modern college campus. Intersectionality is a form of identity politics in which the value of your opinion depends on how many victim groups you belong to.
No, we already went over this, but I'm just going to say again, none of what he is saying right now is true. Intersectionality is the recognition that living in a political structure, because we all live in a political structure, your identity is paramount to how you are treated within that structure. And effectively, you can socially unionize by saying, hey, me and these other people, we're LGBT. What policies and politicians can we back in such a way that will benefit not only us, but people within our group who may be party to other groups who are being mistreated currently? Right. It's very simple. It's not all about this hierarchy. People on the right are obsessed with this idea of hierarchy to the extent that they project it onto other things. Intersectionality is not about hierarchy. Quite the opposite. It's about trying to find where you are in society based upon your identity and trying to level the playing field more or less so everyone can have representation.
It's very egalitarian in practice and in like what it preaches in general. I think recently you've seen this a success with it, although it's a cynical success in my opinion and a lot of people's opinion. Sort of rainbow capitalism.
Yeah.
It's very effective, and it's effective because most people sympathize with the LGBT community at this point.
Pick a progressive cause, but not too progressive, just progressive enough.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
There's a reason they weren't doing it in the 90s.
100%. And so, yeah, it's it's very. By the way, everything I am saying in this video is just slightly less valid than what you are saying, because Ben Shapiro told me so. So if I make a good point, it's not quite as good, okay?
At the bottom of the totem pole is the person everybody loves to hate, the straight white male.
Okay, come on. All right. Corns, come on, guys. I know. You love me.
Every day I get up and I just go, those goddamn straight white men.
Come on. I'm so oppressed.
I get up in the morning and I think, if I just didn't have to work with that fucker Jake.
Every fucking day. Every day I log in to the internet.com and all my gay fans go, I fucking hate this guy, but I hate that other guy more. If only we could find a gay.
Every time Jake comes over, I get a cup and some Drano and think I'm gonna Heathers that bitch, but I don't.
I'd probably try it, though. I'm a big slut.
Like some of the ladies in Heathers.
I've not seen that film.
You've not seen Heathers?
Was it a good?
It's very funny, yes. You should go see Heathers.
Go? Is it a movie out? No, I thought it was like a classic, like 90s film.
It's 80s, I think. It's hilarious. And in one point, Christian Slater, who is one of the main characters, he's the antagonist of the film. He is opposite crazy face McMom Pants from Stranger Things.
Winona Ryder?
Yeah, she's a person in that movie. Anyway, he comes to the school and he's like trench coat wearing. This was the 80s, mind you. Oof. And some
like 89, like right before.
And some bullies get up in his face and he pulls out a gun.
Oh boy.
And goes and it makes a sound effect and the screen cuts to black. And in the next scene you find out they're like, "Oh, he's going to get in trouble. They're going to suspend him." He's like, "He should be expelled." And they're like, he was firing blanks at them. It was a real gun, but he was firing blanks, and they're like, he didn't even use real bullets. It's fine.
Oh.
The 80s was a very different time.
A little innocent.
You can bring a loaded gun to school with blanks and shoot it at people, as long as you don't actually shoot real bullets. He murders a lot of people in that movie, and so does Winona Ryder. It's very funny.
And who's at the top? Well, it's very hard to say, because new groups claim victim status all the time.
Again, he's doing this in a leading way. He's saying, who's at the top, as if there is this hierarchy. That's not the point. There is no master list hierarchy. That's not what intersectionality is for or about. Period.
Let's say you're a gay white woman. Your opinion matters, but less than that of a gay black woman. Why? Because while all women are oppressed by the patriarchy, and all gays are oppressed by the heterosexual majority, blacks have a victim status that whites obviously don't.
Okay, again, no, it's not a hierarchy. All that the people in intersectionality are saying is, hey, we are both women, for instance. We can both talk about women's issues, but if we're talking about...
We both like Muff.
Sure, but let's say we're talking about a race-related issue, let's say
Police brutality.
Police brutality, especially in urban areas where there's a higher population of African Americans.
And a higher population of cops.
Sure. The person who is African American probably has more of a say in what's going on there because they have the experience to back it up.
It's about your lived experience.
All it's saying is that, Ben, and hear me out here, Ben, because you need to understand this, people with actual lived experience have more to say on those topics because they've experienced them. Ben, you, just because you're white or whatever, no one cares. It's the point that your opinion needs to be informed, and if you are talking about something out of your ass that you don't know what you're talking about, for instance, intersectionality, you sound like an idiot, and you're adding nothing of value to the conversation. Do you understand that, Ben? The amount of value you have in a conversation is directly related to how much information you have on said topic, which has never stopped you before, but that is what we're talking about here. It's not about hierarchy, it's about being like, hey, maybe we don't need to default to straight white guy number 7 on CNN's panel this week. Because, you know what, we've heard that message, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's, this is very similar to, what's her name? Captain Marvel, what's her name?
Brie Larson.
When Brie Larson was talking about, like, hey, it'd be nice to have opinions other than straight white dudes talking about movies that aren't necessarily made for that demographic. It'd be very nice to have other voices, especially those it's targeted towards, so that we can get more accurate reviews. Because, like, I'm not going to understand why Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants is a terribly good movie, right? It's not for me. I don't know if it is a good movie, but you know what I mean. It was like a very popular chick flick back when I was in high school, right? And there are other movies like. Did you see the Disney short that just came out on Disney Plus called Pearl? No. Did you watch that? You should really watch that. They did a really amazing thing, and Sarah was very excited about this. They same-faced every white man in the room. And all the women are balls of yarn trying to exist in a male-dominated workplace. And It's very, very good. And it's a fun way to sort of poke at the whole bullshit that surrounds that. And that's just one point. Like, it wasn't like a bunch of gay lady balls of yarn or trans women or anything like that. It was literally just from a cis heteronormative perspective how this is affected, and it was interesting. And so it's shit like that where it's, I don't know, man, people like Ben, like, get over it. Like
people like Ben have had their opinion validated every second of their life for so long that the second someone says, hey, you know, you're a person and you have the right to speak, but at the end of the day, is it possible you don't actually have the most information available about this topic? And he goes, what? I'm being oppressed! No, Ben, you're just not the most important person in the room every time you walk into a fucking room.
Of course, a gay black woman's victim status is less than that of a black trans woman, who ranks below a black Muslim trans woman, and so on.
Once again, he's just pulling all of this out of his ass. He's just making shit up. This is just him once again proving that he's not the smartest person in the room by just lying.
The more memberships you can claim in oppressed groups, the more aggrieved you are, and the higher you rank. Get it?
No, you're lying, Ben. You're okay with lying like this? Well, this is PragerU. This is a Christian channel. How dare you lie?
It's actually, I don't think it is Christian. Hold on. I think Dennis Prager is Jewish.
Oh, Judeo-Christian Zionism, probably.
Yes, that is accurate.
Okay.
The rest of that's accurate. They even go so far as to say, like, this is why you should believe the Bible. By the way, Dennis Prager's dog, I will protect him. He is cute.
Good, because it's about to get even more complicated. Intersectionality takes your victim status and uses it as the basis for creating alliances with other victim groups. 30 or 40 years ago, activists encouraged racial solidarity among blacks to combat oppression. But today, that's not enough. Today's activists demand blacks make common cause with other allegedly oppressed people: gays, lesbians, transgenders, Palestinians, Native Americans, whomever.
No one's being forced to do anything. No one's even saying that, like, by the way, if black people have, like, a coalition for just race rights or whatever, that's bad. Like, no one's going, like, NAACP! Like, that's not a thing that happens over here in Left Town. You can all do your own individual shit. Intersectionality just says, but also, if you want to work together for common rights, because the conversation about equality isn't that different among people as far as like the goal. Yeah. The lived experience and the path towards it and the legislation you need and whatever is definitely different. The experience and stuff, but like equality is equality. Like we just all kind of want to have the equality of opportunity, and we all want to be treated culturally and socially like to a certain degree. And that's pretty much it. That's the whole goal.
Intersectionality is effectively social unionization. It's getting together as a group and saying our interests are common. We should work together for those common interests, the interests in particular tending to be for equality and civil rights. That's it.
That's the whole thing.
It's very simple, and the fact that one's demonizing this effectively says, like, fuck these people, don't they know where they fucking belong? It seems like that's the undertone here.
Here's the logic. A black gay and a Hispanic gay may not belong to the same victim group racially, but they do belong to the same victim group on the basis of their sexuality.
Yeah, so yes, you are right in the sense, Ben, that someone who is black and gay and someone who is Hispanic and gay both have being gay in common. True. Yes. And
by focusing on the places where various victim identities intersect, intersectionality creates a united us versus them paradigm. Righteous victims rising up together to fight the oppressor, those dreaded straight white men.
Okay, it's not necessarily straight white men. Straight white women are just as guilty.
It's about... Politics is about power structures. Yeah. And the fact is, in this country, most of the people in power, and most of the people who have been in power historically, have been straight white men.
Well, at least white men. We don't know how gay they were. It was definitely under wraps. Not openly, openly straight white men, because Abe Lincoln, bicon.
This isn't to demonize anyone who happens to be a straight white man. There's one.
Wait, whoa, hey, attacked.
This is
a little too strong.
Bare minimum just saying that the people who devised the power structures in which we all reside did so to their own benefit, whether consciously or unconsciously.
A little bit of both, especially considering the slave trade.
At the very least, they did not like people who were different than them. Now, again, that's not saying anything bad about you. It's only bad if people with voices differing from your own come to you and say, hey, we are gay or trans or black or Hispanic or Asian or women or whoever, and they say, hey, this is the power structure we see. This is the power structure in which we all reside. It's being very unfair to us. Can we please change this up so it's more fair and so we all have a better shot and it's more egalitarian? Yep. And you say, no! Why are you ganging up on me with your intersectionality? Consider that you're fucking wrong and maybe a bit of a baby and need to actually take a look at yourself and say, hey, maybe I need to listen to what other people are saying to me and not just have an automatic reaction to be mad that someone is calling me out.
I'm trying to think of the negative from my perspective, but I think it has to be the negative from a power-holding person's perspective, right? Because I guess maybe they're just freaking out because the idea behind we need more pick a non-white straight thing in Congress, in power, in, drone pilots, whatever, if you're a liberal. That means that someone's being replaced that is not that, I guess, maybe? I don't know. Like, it feels very American History X at the breakfast table conversation where they're like, the bad people are getting the good jobs when they're not as qualified. And it's like, yikes, Dad from Boy Meets World. You're very racist in this movie.
This explains why at a rally protesting the treatment of Palestinians by Israel, you might see a contingent of lesbian activists. That's intersectionality at work.
Those goddamn lesbians for Palestine. Fuck them in particular for some reason? I don't know.
Well, obviously Ben is not a big fan of Palestine.
No, he's not.
They're so united by their victim status that it doesn't matter if Islamists throw gays off of buildings or murder female family members who defy their father's wishes. Victim solidarity trumps all other considerations.
Okay. Being anti-Israel in regards to the Israel-Palestine conflict does not mean you are necessarily pro-Sharia Islam. Come on, Ben. Are you serious? Like that?
He's aware there are people who live in Palestine who aren't like fucking, hardline. Like, it's okay to just also not want people to be segregated based on that and have a big stupid fucking wall and continue invading into their territory.
He also makes a terrible video for PragerU about, like, look at how many, or maybe it's not PragerU, it's someone else, but it's basically the same bullshit with infographics coming up. Look at how many Muslims in Muslim countries want Sharia law. Yeah. It's like, well, yeah. Ask how many Christians want Christian law, like the Ten Commandments on the front lawn, like, and in government. Like, of course they do. Like, he always ignores, like, literal context and fact. Yeah. And I don't know why I'm surprised.
It's weird to me that the defense here is almost like, but some of them are bad. You should like that I'm shitting all over them. Kind of odd.
We do remember 9/11, and I don't think anyone from Palestine did it. like they're getting bombed too. Like,
the term intersectionality was coined by Kimberly Crenshaw, a professor of law at Columbia University. She explains that intersectionality was my attempt to make feminism, anti-racist activism, and anti-discrimination law do what I thought they should: highlight the multiple avenues through which racial and gender oppression were experienced.
Yes. Yep, that seems fine. Yep. I think it's because of the what I feel. When Ben's argument is, no, but this is how I feel, as if it's more valid. Yeah. Interesting. You do know that you lost the Oppression Olympics with her, right?
But she used the word feel, and Ben substitutes his feelings for facts. Not in content, but in how he describes them. So, he wins. Checkmate.
Her definition of intersectionality is perfect as well. So I mean, I don't really understand.
To Crenshaw, America is a terrible place full of victim groups, each with their particular set of grievances. Why shouldn't these victim groups get together and form a political coalition unified by the belief that the majority society has harmed them?
Yes?
Isn't that like literally history in general?
Yeah.
Pretty much every single time we've gotten progress in any way, which maybe Ben thinks is bad, like women's voting rights, coalition. Like, I mean, there were men involved with that. White people were involved with civil rights. I mean, like there's straight people involved with gay rights and all the other stuff, and like yeah, it's intersectional, and it's like multiple and not just gay, right? Because then we went to the trans community, right? There's a lot of trans community people in like the Harvey Milk movement, right? Yeah. I mean, it's always been the case. Literally, always. I'm trying to think of a scenario in which there was social change in which there wasn't a member of someone that wasn't directly affected in the group. Slavery? Nope. Plenty of people. Underground Railroad that weren't slaves. People that weren't white doing it. People like, what? What? Ben, you're from one of these groups that have literally exhibited intersectionality. I mean, literally consider what the Republican Party is. An intersectional group of people trying to pass conservative viewpoints. Yep. You're all intersectional. You have gays. You've been on gay Dave Rubin shit. You like Candace Owens is a thing.
Like 80 years ago, the U.S. gave them Palestine's land, so he's good. He's fine.
Okay, but I'm just saying, like, intersectionality is, like, literally a thing you do every day. I don't like, everybody participates.
How dare you highlight and point out the reality of the political situation in which we live?
That some professor tucked away in an ivory tower would come up with this nonsense is not surprising.
Oh my god. Oh my god. She's not locked away in an ivory tower. Do you know how much they pay fucking professors? Holy shit. She's literally an activist. She's done tons of shit. What are you talking? What? Oh my god, this is so mind-boggling. An ivory tower.
Isn't Ben Shapiro's family wealthy?
Hey. Just because he's a multimillionaire from literally the moment of his birth doesn't mean he understands. Or doesn't understand. Struggle, okay? Do you know how many times he's like woken up with cold feet? And he had to find socks that were like really like 30, 40 feet away because he has a large master bedroom with a walk-in closet and a cold hardwood floor. Do you even understand what that's like in February in LA?
Yes, I have seen Richie Rich.
Oh, okay. Then you do get it. That's fine.
What is surprising and disturbing is that so many people actually go along with it. America is the most open, least racist nation on the planet.
No!
Wait.
Okay. The least racist.
How do you quantify?
I was going to say that. That's not something that's quantifiable.
They mean by law?
But if you want to try and quantify it, we were like one of the last countries to ban slavery.
No, but we don't now.
Also, the civil rights movement, my parents were literally born before the Civil Rights Act was passed.
Now, though.
Yeah, we still have huge systemic racism problems.
No,
Black people are getting shot by the police at an alarming rate relative to other groups.
But Ben Shapiro he's a white millionaire Jewish millionaire in LA. He doesn't see any of this happening.
Also,
idiot.
Even if, let's say you were able to quantify who is the least racist nation, if it were between the U.S. and Canada, I'd guess it's Canada. But
they have some problems with indigenous folks, for sure.
Sure. And,
not that we don't.
Yeah. That wouldn't mean that there was no improving to do. At one point, maybe you could say the Roman Empire could have been the least racist nation on Earth in the sense that they brought people in as long as you were part of society or Romans. That doesn't mean the Romans are the apex of what is possible for race relations. You know what I mean?
I don't understand even making the claim. It's so unfalsifiable. I don't know how you get there unless you're literally just like, well, look at the laws and what they say. How did the people behave? Are you getting reports of racism from people? Because if you are experiencing racism.
No, but there's black people on television now, so...
Colin Kaepernick kneeled!
That Professor Crenshaw is free to spin her nonsensical theories and get paid well for it should offer adequate proof of that.
Because she's a black lady, you see. She's a black lady, and if she's able to say words aloud that I disagree with, racism defeated. Okay.
And since when do you have to live someone's experience in order to understand them? You don't have to live as a slave in order to understand that slavery is cruel and wrong.
Okay. You have to live as that person to know how it feels to be a slave, not to know that it's wrong.
Right.
Very different. You have to be whatever.
If, for instance, you are a white person living pretty much anywhere. Even here, we live in Saginaw, in the city area, predominantly African American.
We have. Did you know? I looked at this the other day. We have a higher. This is why it was such a culture shock, and I just looked at the statistics. Okay. When I moved to Idaho, the entire state has about 9. At least the statistics I saw from the census from 2015, 16, somewhere in there. 9,700 black people in the state.
Wow.
In Boise is where most of the people are. Is where I lived. Here we have like almost 3 times that many in this city.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't even imagine like a place that white. It was so white. It was absolutely stunning, and so we live in a very mixed society where, and not just that, we also have a high Hispanic population here as well.
Sure, but even then, even though we live in the same place as them, we don't necessarily have the same experience as them. That's why it's important to listen to people who have differing perspectives than you, and take what they say at face value, assuming you're hearing this from multiple people. I mean, take them as anecdotes when you hear them, but if a large group of people are getting together, like someone like a group like Black Lives Matter, and saying, hey, collectively, we are recognizing that there's an incredibly huge systematic racism problem in the justice avenues of this country. Yeah. You don't get to just say, well, I don't see it, so fuck you, like Ben Shapiro does. The entire point is that we share different perspectives and try and learn from them You don't. No one is the Eye of Sauron up on a fucking volcano that can see everything. We only make equitable policy decisions and changes to society by listening to the problems of others and trying to shape a system that works for everyone.
Mm-hmm. And feelings are important in that. And it's not like feelings should dictate what is true or not, but feelings definitely dictate what's true about how people feel.
You don't have to live as a woman in order to recognize the evil of rape. Finally, and most important, intersectionality promotes the biggest hoax of all, that we aren't individuals who are to be judged on the basis of how we act, but are merely members of groups to be judged on the basis of our group identity.
Literally, no. Nothing about intersectionality places any judgment on the individual or lack thereof. All it is a way to create political coalitions out of different groups, all of which are comprised of individuals. You're creating a false dichotomy here, where it's either you are an individual person who does everything on their own, or you're part of a collective, when the reality is we are both. I am an individual with my own beliefs and feelings and values, skills, whatever.
And I am an oppressed white man.
But I'm also a part of specific demographic groups.
Of course.
Trans, bisexual, whatever, white. Like, these are all things that inform how politics affects me and how I affect politics. And by viewing these things and acknowledging them, we're able to work together to create better systems together.
I just don't understand. If you're against intersectionality, you better be part of like literal homogenous groups. This is what I'm trying to think of, a super homogenous group. Maybe like the Proud Boys, where I think they allow black members, though. I can't imagine they don't. So that would be intersectional because you're using you know what I mean.
I would argue even what we consider,
like Richard Spencer's white nationalism. Do they allow gay people?
Interestingly, what we consider white nowadays is sort of an intersectional group. You have people who were English, people who were Irish, people who were German, people who were for a lot of the 20th century not considered white.
Right, and if you're not hanging out with Richard Spencer, odds that someone has Jewish heritage is probably pretty high as well. Especially based on where you live. So, I mean, the idea that you're against intersectionality while literally participating in it is pretty weird to me. Even though you don't necessarily understand that it is, just know that like literal coexistence and coalition building among differing racial, sexual orientation, gender groups, belief groups, like all of this is intersectionality. At all times. On any side of the political spectrum. Pick one. Go there. Libertarians, anarchists, fucking fascists. Yep. Intersectional. It just depends on what your goals are. And the left our version of intersectionality is for egalitarianism usually, and a better quality of life and that stuff.
In other words, you and I, as individuals with our unique experiences, thoughts, and ambitions, count for nothing. Our racial and sexual identity count for everything.
Again, no.
It's hard to imagine an idea less likely to produce a free and equal America than that.
Like Richard Spencer, you guys have heard the leaked audio. That kind of shit sounds worse to me, but, you know.
I don't know. There's this idea that conserving something about the past is like a really good thing. Like, look at how good those people had it. Have you considered what the people that don't look like you were experiencing during that time, right?
Are you telling me off camera on Leave It to Beaver there's a black person not being allowed in the restaurant?
That sounds real. Sounds like real life.
I'm just saying, like, just off camera and Leave It to Beaver. Constantly imagine a black person being beaten up for using a water fountain.
Yeah. I mean, literally, yes.
Makes the 90s Leave It to Beaver movie very confusing.
But what do I know? I'm just a straight white male.
I mean, I'm a straight white male too, and I feel like the way I communicate this is pretty helpful.
The difference is you're not a huge cunt.
Shut up. Okay, that's part of my brand. Okay,
you know what I mean.
I do. No, but seriously, like my voice isn't silenced, and I mean, again, I'm basically tokenized at this point in our community. Like I'm. There's a few of us out there. I see you, Shady Shroomy. He knows. He brings it up every time. But like it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. I don't know. I've never felt threatened by it because it is not a thing that I think is important to me. Like, because I'm so well represented. I'm so well heard in general. Like, my opinions of my racial, sexual, gender group are all pretty well known. Unless it's like a white nationalist or something. I do not agree. But like, I don't know. It's not a thing that I need to clutch onto. Like, if someone else wants to have a voice, I don't know what it's like to want to suck a gaggle of dicks. But if someone's like, you can't marry someone because you want to suck dick, that seems fucked up to me. I don't know how that feels, but I know that sounds fucked up. And so, like, I support it. And so Obergefell v. Hodges happens. It's not like the fight's over for gay people, but now we're moving on to, like,
again, but that's you listening to groups who may or may not be intersectional and accepting their understanding of the world as a perspective, whereas Ben doesn't.
Because of who am I to say that, like, your lived experience isn't the truth, right? Especially if I hear it from multiple people. Like we're talking like the black community has come out and said, hey, this is how our life is going. Since Martin Luther King, read I Have a Dream. Don't go to the part where, like, I have a dream that white and black people can live together. No. Read the rest of it, okay? This dude's he's a socialist. Like, hardcore. Like actually read the words, because when you co-opt them, like Ben Shapiro does or PragerU does in general, it's stripping it of all context. Like, actually read what the dude's saying, and not just him. Read what anyone's saying. Read what just like your average trans person's saying. Read what your average fucking Hispanic person is saying. Latinx person in general. Just like, there's so many people that have stories out here. Native American people are a really good example, or just First Peoples in general, depending on where you're at. Like, listen to those people, because they're telling you, hey, our experience sucks, and here's what we identify as the problem. I feel like we should address it. People like me, people that look a lot like me, have a lot of power right now. That's slowly equalizing, but like, who knows how long that's going to take. So it's up to people like me that have power, not me, but people with power that look like me and everything else that we share a lot of stuff with. Since we have an inordinate amount of power, statistically speaking, it would behoove us to listen to people that need our help, because you never know when you're going to need help. And like, we're all here together. I don't know. It just feels like a really shitty thing not to listen to people when they're like, you're hurting me.
Also, eat the rich. So that's this episode.
I don't think they'd be very tasty. They're all vegans.
All I'm saying is, intersectionally, anyone who's not a billionaire.
Okay,
there's only like 2,000 of them. If 300 something million of us.
If you're a billionaire, think about this: you can make 1,000 people a millionaire, including yourself. What? That's with $1 billion.
Yep.
What? Think about how generationally wealthy you could make your closest 1,000 acquaintances, just by going like, here, have 2 million or whatever, depending on how many billions you have. Fucking nuts. Jeff Bezos literally cannot spend that money.
I believe the best comparison I've ever seen of this is 1 million seconds ago was 12 days ago. 1 billion seconds ago was like 33 years ago. That's how big of a difference there is between a millionaire and a billionaire.
Yeah, I think we start to lose the plot at some point when those big numbers hit. But billion?
No human being on planet Earth has ever done enough work to earn $1 billion.
Except for Barbara Streisand. What a talent. What a hottie back in the day, man.
Papa, can you hear me?
Never mind, I take it back. So, that's it for this. If you want more Shapiro, go to Daily Wire. There's lots of them there. But if you want more Shapiro and us,
stay tuned.
Subscribe.
If you want to send us stuff to our P.O. box, here's the address. We're going to be doing a December Christmas big unboxing sometime earlier, mid-December. So send us stuff there and we will open it.
Got a lot of people saying they're sending shit. So do it. Send us your mittens. Send us a scarf. You're a scarf person. You like a scarf?
My favorite color's purple. If anything is color related.
What's your t-shirt size? I said XL.
Oh, right now XL. Yeah.
Boom! I nailed it. I did a good job. Okay.
I like pajama pants. Also.
Oh man, I'm a big fan of the. I like the what are these called? What are these that I'm wearing? Runners? The ones with their taper at the bottom. Boy, are they comfy.
I like nerdy shit. I like Power Rangers.
I like
Doctor Who. I like Star Trek. I like cups and stuff that you can, you know.
And I like nice stuff that you think is just from the heart that you really think I'd appreciate.
I don't. Cash, bitch.
I don't hate cash. If someone gives me a wad of cash, I mean, I'm not going to be mad. Someone gave us gift cards to Red Lobster.
We still haven't gone. We should go to Red Lobster.
Did I use that?
I don't know.
I mean, I can still go to Red... it's irrelevant. I can go to Red Lobster.
I want a whole bunch of Cheddar Bay biscuits.
Oh, I do love a Cheddar Bay biscuit.
So that's it. Follow us on Twitter at PapaBirdJake, at Hugo Reloaded. Did you already say that? I don't remember. Nope. Patreon in the description. Discord in the description. Other stuff in the description.
This week's Patreon is helping my penis. Just in general. Like staying healthy. Maybe buying lotions for it. It's been about your titties for like 3 weeks. Get over yourself. Today's my penis.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
Until next time. I'm Hugo.
I'm Jake.